Hello, and a very warm welcome to St Peter Mancroft Church for this Wednesday lunchtime reflection. There's quite a few people in the church looking around and buying Christmas cards. You're very welcome to be here, and please do carry on what you're doing. My name is Gill Persicke, and I'm one of the licensed lay ministers in this church. And my theme for today is memorialising, good ways and bad ways of memorialising things. Now, I was grounded a couple of weeks ago with a very bad cold, but as I was recovering, I decided to do a bit of sorting out at home. I'm sure you know the sort of thing: old clothes to go to the charity shop, total rubbish to be put in the rubbish, but mainly actually sorting through reams and reams of old papers, and I have thrown most of them away. Much of it was very easy. Who needs the minutes of meetings held more than a decade ago? Who needs old utility bills from the days when we still actually had paper bills? And old mortgage documents and bank statements and so forth. Although I was careful, of course, to pick out the stuff that really needed shredding. Yes, a lot of this was easy. But then I came across a file, quite a thick file, of stuff that I've written over the years. And I suppose this stuff would be best described as journaling. In it, I'd soul-searched on paper, addressed some of my deepest upsets and problems, dialogued on paper with myself and with other people. It was all very personal and very revealing. And at the start of this file, I'd put a stark sheet of paper. If you find this file after my death, please destroy all the contents without reading them. But as it was my own file, I did have a quick look. And yes, some of it was fascinating. And I really could have spent a whole morning reading through the whole thing and then kept it, put it back in the cupboard. But something stopped me. A thought stopped me. And the thought was that this file is a record of work finished, self-examination that I've done in the past. And that work is over because I've learnt from it. So I don't need to keep this file as a memorial to that unhappy past. And you know what? I chucked the whole thing into the recycling bin, together with a whole load of diaries and other stuff, and I felt totally liberated, actually, freer, cleaner. Oh, the joys of a really good sort-out at home. Now, if I'd read the whole of that file, I would have sunk back into my memories, most of them painful memories, because that's why I did the writing in the first place. And that wouldn't have been of any use at all. It wouldn't have been good for me. Now, when those memories are conveniently written down on paper, we can do this therapeutic thing. We can tear them up and put them in the recycling bin. It's good for the environment and it's good for our mental health. A refusal to memorialise what has been harmful. It's much harder, of course, when those memories aren't concretely on paper, but are lingering instead in the darker corners of our minds. We human beings just can't escape our memories. And there are many memories, happy memories, which of course we wouldn't want to escape. They bring us joy and a sense of identity. But anybody who's suffered a major bereavement will know what an enemy our memories can feel like. You get unexpectedly ambushed by a memory of your loved one when you think you're just fine, when you're going about your everyday life, and suddenly you find yourself back in deep grief, months or even years after that person has died. I know about this because my own partner died 3.5 years ago. Shortly after Jonathan's death, I chose to plant a little memorial area in my back garden, a couple of beautiful fig tree saplings. And these have given me a great deal of joy and comfort over the last few years. And I think many of us do something similar when someone dies. We create little memorials in our own homes, a group of photos, a desk or a bookshelf which our loved one had arranged, the pot with the ashes on the mantelpiece, all very familiar and useful ways of grieving. But what if you keep the whole house exactly as it was, stuck as it were at the moment of loss, nothing changing or growing anymore? I think we'd probably recognise that as an unhealthy memorial if it goes on for too long, and it would be good to seek help if this actually happens to you. Yes, we're understanding more and more that people sometimes do need help to deal with their memories. People who've seen the horrors of the battlefield often need help. They may develop post-traumatic stress disorder. And thank God this is now being recognised as a real war injury, just as much as a broken body would be. Now, I certainly don't understand the full complexity of the treatment for PTSD, but I do know what its aim is: to prevent the brain from setting up an entrenched internal memorial to the original trauma, so that it completely wrecks the life of the person afflicted. We need, as far as possible, to stop those ghastly memories replaying over and over again. We certainly don't need to solidify them. But I wish that PTSD could be treated not just in individual people, but also in the nations and the tribes of this world. It seems to me that many, if not most, wars are triggered by memories of the ghastly things people have done to each other in the past. Whole communities, tragically, are becoming traumatized today as I speak, and there is a gargantuan task ahead once the task of peacemaking has been completed. How to heal those memories which will threaten to replay and poison the minds of future generations. And part of this healing process has to be an unflinching examination of how we memorialise what has happened, what we deliberately choose to do with our memories. We're surrounded by concrete physical memories in our own everyday lives. The war memorial out there by the City Hall, blue plaques on the walls of buildings where famous people have lived, the photos and diaries kept in our own homes. But we also memorialise in the stories we choose to tell over and over again inside our own heads. We memorialise in the beliefs we cling to, the songs we sing, even in the scriptures we read with such attention. But I think we need to attend also to the effect these memorials are having on us. Are they helping us to live kinder, healthier, wiser lives? Or are they just serving to preserve the memory of something which now needs to be worked on and then laid to rest, forgotten as far as it is possible? Memory is powerful, really powerful, and not always under our control. But memorialising is a different thing. It's a deliberate action. May we, by the grace of God, choose to memorialise well. Thank you for joining me for this reflection today, and I wish you every blessing for the rest of the day.